What up, Vibers? It's your boy, Ky. Welcome to another episode of the Vibe with Ky podcast. Today, we have returning guest. She isn't sick and tired of my face yet. Angela Nauss, licensed marriage and family therapist who specializes in trauma and PTSD. You know, all the fun stuff. Angela has worked with survivors of human trafficking, domestic violence, and more. She's here to share her experiences, her expertise on embracing introversion, balancing social life, self-compassion, social anxiety, all of that stuff that I struggle with every second of every day.
No.
She's here to talk about that.
Okay.
Plus, for all of our subscribers, we'll have a fun game of Would You Rather that I'm going to be playing with Angela. But that is only for the subscribers. So if you want to subscribe, go subscribe on either Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok, and you're going to get a very special, exclusive section of this interview that not everybody else is going to get to see. Only you're going to get to see it because you're a subscriber. So go do that right now. With that said, I'd like to introduce, welcoming back to the podcast, Napoleon herself, Angela Nauss. Hi, Angela. Welcome back.
Ky, I could never get tired of you.
Are you sure? I'm annoying.
Oh my God, no way.
I'm very annoying. Shout out to my Colorado cup that I'm drinking out of for you, Angela. That's how much I like you.
We should tell the subscribers that, like, of the subscribers, 2 of the number 1 fans are my mother and her best friend.
Well, right now, what people are listening to right now, this is everybody. So we can save the number 1 fan part for the subscribers later. They're going to get exclusive information.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, is if you become a subscriber, you are going to get to watch even more Ky antics, because my Would You Rathers are going to be so good.
They're so good. We haven't even recorded it yet, and I just know.
Oh, I'm like so ready for this. Yeah. So subscribe
I'm
immediately.
So excited. Now, for those of you that are watching and you're like, who the hell is this woman?
Oh yeah.
Who the hell is this? Maybe you've never, this is your 3rd time on my podcast, if I'm not mistaken. And so let's introduce you to the people that may not know who you are. Start off, tell a little bit briefly about your journey in the mental health world and what inspired you to choose this topic today about introversion, social anxiety, self-compassion. Why that topic? Where are you from and why that topic?
Who are you? What are you doing? Yes, I know.
What are you doing here? Tell me who you are.
Why are you on the show? Okay, short breakdown about me. So I'm Angela Nauss. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, but more than that, I'm a skeptic and I'm a cynic. And even though I'm a therapist, I approach everything with like a cynic's mind. I guess it's like my background is in community mental health. It's in working with people who were underprivileged. That's very passionate. That's like a passion of mine. Right now I do PTSD. I also work with men a lot, especially men who have depression. Men don't often talk about this enough. Yes, I know. So one of my passions is helping people who either are under-resourced or kind of shy about coming forward for therapy. I think introversion is a huge subject for men that's not talked about.
Agreed.
Oh boy.
Agreed. That's why I talk about it so often on my platform, is because like I'm an introvert, and growing up, I didn't think I was an introvert because I used to think that introversion just meant shy. And that's not necessarily the case, because I'm not shy at all. Right. But like introversion is a spectrum. And so there's a lot to introversion that people don't realize. And it's ultimately about how you recharge your battery. And like, I want to recharge my battery alone. Leave me alone. Can I tell you what the last 2 days have been for me, the introvert? Can I tell you what's been going on?
Let me get out my notepad so I could take my therapy notes. This is
okay. A session. We're in session right now.
I'm sure this is going to be happening. Totally
so
normal.
I travel the country doing like speeches and keynote addresses and speaking with organizations and things like that. So this week, it's just so worked out that I had two keynote addresses that I had to give, in which I had to not only give the speeches and all that, but I also had to schmooze before and afterwards.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So yesterday, I had to do it for a this corporate entity. And it was all about mental health in the workplace. And it went great. And I schmoozed and it was fine. And then after that, After that, I had to give a webinar about how introverts can set boundaries. I did that webinar. And then the next day, today, I drove all the way out to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, which, for those of you that don't know, from where I live, right outside of Philly, it's about a 2-hour drive. Drove all the way there, gave another speech about marketing AI because I'm a digital marketer, gave a whole speech. That was 2 hours of speaking, and I had to schmooze before and afterwards. Then come back, and I'm hanging out with you. And I'm so excited because after this, I get to not people anymore for the till Friday.
But here's the thing, Ky. Like, as an extrovert, there are things that I'll just never understand. I'm like, that sounds like a blast. You get to meet so many new people. I know that face. I'm like, you get to make so many new friends. Like,
no, God, no. I hate schmoozing. I'm just like, I'm not like small talk. Lord help me, absolutely not.
Well,
I'm not good at it. Too. I don't like doing it. And it's just not, it's not fun. Like I don't mind talking to people. I really don't. I just don't want to talk about BS. I want to talk about like things that bring me joy. Like you, Angela. I want to talk about you because you bring me joy. You make me happy.
I know, but that's the thing about introverts is I'm like, you know, you'll talk with introverts and they'll be like, I'm afraid. What are your fears about going into social situations? And it'll be stuff I can't even imagine. They'll be like, what if I'm boring? And I'm like, you know, as an extrovert, my default programming is like, well, everyone would love to hear what I have to say. So I'm like, I've never thought about that before. They probably won't.
I didn't know that you identified as an extrovert. I don't know. I don't think I knew that.
Boy. I love it. Like when I love going to networking events and like strangers are just friends you haven't met yet.
No, absolutely not. Strangers are strangers that I want to stay strangers.
I mean, I'll talk to introverts. They'll be like, what if I'm talking, Angela? What if I'm talking to someone? Angela, this could happen. And all of a sudden the person says, you're not fun to talk to, and they leave. What would I do? I'm like, that would never happen. Like, but introverts will be like, this could happen.
I will say, if I had met you in person and you were a stranger and we started talking, I would be transfixed. I would be like, who is this woman? Why am I obsessed with her? And why is she just talking?
Well, I do think that's a part of the reason people listen. It's not like I'm super smart or anything. They're just like, fascinating.
You are smart.
Like, what a creature.
No, you are smart. You're like hell smart. But here's what you know what I'm curious about though. So you're an extrovert, and you talk to like a lot of people, especially men, about introversion. So here's my question, extrovert: what does the extrovert bring to the table for that conversation with introverts during therapy? I'm very curious.
Okay,
like, what is that conversation like?
My job as an extrovert is to help you challenge maladaptive, so unhealthy beliefs you may have about what could happen in a social situation, number one. And number two, to help you set boundaries. Because part of my journey has been recognizing that I am one of these people that's like the problem. I do just ask people for things all the time. And it's normal for me to get told no a lot. But I think for introverts, having to be in that situation and tell someone no is very high stakes. So I'm the person in the room that's like, I do ask for favors constantly, but I don't get upset or hurt. You can just tell me no. I get told no all the time. I just move on like it never happened.
Right. So it sounds like you deal with a lot of introverts that have social anxiety, right? Yes. What about the introverts that don't? They just don't want to talk to people. It's like they're not scared to, they just don't want to. Is that like, what about them? And by them, I mean me. Because I'm not scared to talk to people. I have no problem like when I was schmoozing yesterday and I was schmoozing today. I nailed it. Okay, I was pretty dang good.
Look at this
guy.
I nailed
amazing.
it. Not to brag.
I was so good. I was the best introvert
ever. Stop. Don't do that. That's too funny. Not with the hand movements.
So I was pretty dang good at the whole like talking thing. So, and like, I'm not afraid to talk to people. I just don't want to. What would you say to me?
I would say there's nothing wrong with that. That's a person who doesn't need therapy. Like, you're crushing it.
I don't know about that, but
I
I don't know about that part. But.
dude, I have introvert friends and I love them, right? They'll be like, I
Mhm.
can give you 2 hours on a Saturday. I'll be like, I'll take it. Let's do it. And then it's me. So I'm like, can we do 2.5? And they have to be like, no, 2. I'm done. It's done.
Is your husband an extrovert?
Uh maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. Have you met him? Do you know? Do you like? Yeah. When was the last time you talked to him?
Men are so weird because they just hang out different than women. So I'll be like,
Sure.
what do you want to do in your free time? And he'll be like, well, I'd like to, go to the new restaurant and try some food. And I'll be like, let's invite our friends. Like I'll call up, 5, 6 people. We can go to the restaurant. We can make a day out of it. We can hang out after. And he's
No,
like,
no,
oh,
no. Let's go. Just go. You and me go to the restaurant, eat our food, and then go home. Why do we have to make it an event?
well, why not?
No. I am I your husband? Was I your husband just now? Was
Yes,
that?
I feel like I'm in this moment. I know, but men are also like, and there are other people who speak to this, but I feel like after the pandemic, like men have had to come to terms with like male friendships are really hard to come by. It's
Mhm,
difficult to build a support system. Men are feeling really isolated and alone, like introvert
mhm.
or extrovert. It's just tough out there for them right now.
Yeah, that's fair. I'll agree with that. It's tough for people, but yeah, like just like for men, like it's just like, what do I do? Help
I
me.
know. And like for women, like I could go to any social event and just start talking to people. If you're a single man, yeah, right? You know where I'm going with this. And you show up in a public space and you just start talking to people, oh boy.
No, I'm a single man and I show up in a public space and I hide.
No, Kai.
Why do you think I'm single and with 2 cats, Angela?
I love the cats. Aaron and Burr, right?
Hamilton and Burr, yeah.
Hamilton and Burr. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I know. So okay, so what can okay for the guys out there that are listening that are introverts that maybe they are single and they want to figure out how to get themselves out there in public and schmooze and maybe find some love. What would you say to them if they're an introvert and they're struggling?
Well, first I would say I think that's beautiful and such a wholesome goal.
Not all of us can find happy love like you, okay, Angela? Okay,
I know, I know. I'm like,
okay,
oh
it's
my
not
gosh.
easy.
I do like really gradual like exposure therapy interventions with people. So I'll be like, step one is just find an event that you would go to. Don't go to it.
Mhm.
Just think about going to it.
Just think about going.
Just think about going to it. Like start really, really small. Because the whole point of exposure therapy is you have to like get used to the anxiety associated with this.
Mm.
So like you're
Hmm.
gonna get anxious imagining going to an event. The next
Right.
step might be like plan going to an event, but you don't have to go, just plan going to it. Like the
Hmm.
next step after that might be like show up, let's say you're going to like a board game night or like a Warhammer, whatever.
Right.
Show up, but don't go inside if you don't want to.
Okay. So
Building
just
up
like small
slowly.
incremental
Yeah.
steps to eventually showing up and schmoozing and talking.
But only if you feel like it. It always works better if you make it a game. Like if there's no
Okay.
stakes, you're more likely to do it.
Fair enough. So should introvert men like me should we date extroverted women?
I mean, I think it's a great match, but
You think it's a great match? Why is that?
I think my
Tell me
husband is an
why.
introvert. Well, because then you just have a person to socialize for you. You can just go to events
Ooh.
and I'll just do the talking. I know you like that. And then
I
I
didn't say
bring
that. I didn't say that. I just said it was that's interesting. That's an interesting point.
and here's another point. If you're an introverted man and you date an extroverted woman, she's going to bring all of her friends and then suddenly you're in the friend group. You don't have to make more friends. She's made them for you and you get them when you're together.
What if it's all women? What if you want some guy friends?
If she's an extroverted woman, she probably has guy friends.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay. What about if it's not just for men but people in general that are introverts that have like trauma. Maybe they had a
Yeah.
traumatic experience that led to them having this social anxiety and things like that. What would you say to them?
I mean, I think I know where you're going with this question. And like, no. socializing does not look the same for everyone. It's not like
Mm-hmm.
there's some minimum amount of social interaction you need to be
Yeah.
healthy. We all know introverts who are like, I'm genuinely happy, like spending my free time doing my hobbies on my own. And there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, there's no law that says you need human interaction or you're going to
Thank
be your
God.
best.
I'd
Like
be
that does not
arrested.
exist.
I'd be in jail. Okay. All right. Fair enough. So we're solving introversion. Okay, so how how do we balance that? How do we balance like social life with personal time? Is there a secret to finding like the perfect balance for an introvert?
I mean, you tell me.
I'm interviewing you, milady. I can tell you how
Milady.
I do it though. I just
Tell me the
know my
secret.
limits. I know my limits, right? Like I know, for me personally, I know when I need to remove myself from a situation, and I have no shame doing it. I used to be afraid to because I would be like, oh, what do people think of me? What if like blah, blah. Now I don't care. I really don't give a shit. Like it's just like if I need to remove myself from a situation because my battery died, then I'm going to just remove myself, and I tell that to people all the time. I just don't allow myself to get to a point where I'm not happy or comfortable in the social situation that I'm in. But I also know my body and I know my brain, and I just don't allow myself to get to that point. So once I see it starting to boil up, that's when I'll remove myself. That's my secret. That's what works for me.
Oh, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
I
Great.
know introverts who are like, I won't do any activity unless it has a defined end. So like I could do a dinner or a movie or like it has to have an end.
But that I also understand, because like I'll have in my head like I'll know my limit, but I'll also know in advance when or how I'm going to leave. Like when
Oh
I
yeah.
arrive to like a party, I know exactly what will need to happen in order for me to bounce, right? So like if it like I know from a personal standpoint, like if I start to feel this way, I'm gonna leave, right? Once it hits 10 o'clock, I'm gonna leave, or I'm gonna start saying my goodbyes, like whatever it may be, or maybe I'll just Irish
Yeah.
goodbye. Like
Like
I'll
we cut
I'll
the
I'll
birthday cake.
know.
I'm done. Yes.
Absolutely. I'll know in advance to every setting exactly when, where, and how I'm leaving.
I don't think that's bad either.
Mm. That's because I mean, I'm fine, but what about all the other guys? All not just guys, all the other people. They need help. I need help. I
I
always
think
need
we
help.
should normalize this because I do think
Mm,
it's like healthy. And if your end goal is like, I would like to become more social, like you said, maybe meet some people, maybe date a little, it's
yeah,
okay to set these kinds of boundaries to keep things in your window of tolerance. Like
yeah.
for my introvert friends, I realized once I started putting end times on my invitations to things, they'd
Oh
show up
yeah,
more. Yeah,
yes.
they loved that.
Oh my god, I'd show up to all your parties.
They were like, 1 hour in the afternoon?
Yes,
Certainly.
yeah. Do you have? Are you playing with a fidget spinner right now?
Yeah, yeah, of
So do
course. Are
I. So
you?
do I.
Oh my
Yeah.
god!
Yeah, I have a bunch of stuff. I have like a bunch of toys that I just keep on my desk because like I need them and they help. They help me.
Oh,
They help me stay focused on your beautiful face. You
oh,
see? You
thank
see
you,
what I did
Kai.
there? You see?
I
Aren't I
know.
adorable? Aren't I adorable? Again, you see why I'm single? Do you see why?
Stop it. Oh my god. No, I literally don't understand how you're single. This should be the commercial for Kai.
No, well, here's the thing. I don't know. Like, here's the thing. I don't. I don't. I have yet to meet somebody that's like willing to deal with my bullshit, right? Because
Oh my god.
I
Listen to this
like
guy.
being alone, and I have yet to meet somebody that enjoys also being alone. Like I want to date somebody that we can sit in a room together and do our own thing, but still like your presence to me is your presence. Like that's all I need is
Yes.
your presence. That's it. We don't have to talk. We don't have to do the same thing. Like we don't have to eat at the same time. We don't have to go to bed at the same time. Like we are just like in our own separate. We support each other, but we're in our own separate paths. I have yet to meet somebody that likes that, and
But
I just That's what I want.
Like what comes up for me when you speak like that is I'm not sure that introverts know that when you go into a situation where you meet new people, it doesn't have to be about you. You don't have to talk about you if that makes you
Hmm.
uncomfortable. You can just learn about other people. And
Oh, I
learning
love to.
about, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm so
No,
sorry.
you got excited and I
I
want to
did.
like say more about that.
No, no. You're the expert. You talk.
No, you have the lived experience.
I love to just sit back and listen. Like I like to like in conversations, especially if it's like a group conversations. I just love to sit back and just listen. I don't mind. Like another example, I don't mind going to like a public place, like a place that has a lot of people in it or whatever, and just watching and just receiving, like without putting out. That came out weird, but you know what I meant. Like that's what I enjoy. And so like to be able to just like come home at the end of the day and not have to like, I don't know, like we could do our own thing and still be madly in love with each other, yet still supportive. And like, and we know when we do want to like be with each other, like we'll just know. Also dating is very, very, very annoying, and you should be happy that you don't have to date anymore. You should be very happy.
I am. Everything I hear
Mhm.
about dating, it sounds unimaginable. Like,
It's awful. It's not fun. It's just like, because like and it's nothing. I don't know. It's just that like that's the other reason why I'm single. I just don't want to deal with that. Like it's just, let's just skip a couple steps. Like, are we doing this or are we not? Like, do we like each other? Are we boyfriend, girlfriend, or what? Like, what's going on? Can I kiss you? Can you kiss me? Like, what's up? What's the deal? Like, that's what I just want to skip a couple of the bullshit steps and just go to the next step.
you
I
should
know.
put that on a dating profile. That's so good.
Absolutely not. I don't do apps. I don't do, no.
Probably for
I
the
used to
best.
back in the day. No more. Mm-mm. No, no. So, okay. So how do I, Mr. and Mrs. Introvert over here, what's the best piece of extrovert advice that you would give someone like me?
Just go into the situation and find one interesting thing about every person that you meet. So
Hmm.
like I went to boot camp for extroverts, aka I was in a sorority, and yes. And at the beginning of every season you had to do what's called a rush, which is where you speed meet people to join the sorority. And
Hmm.
part of the Greek life experience in sororities is they teach you how to have a conversation. Like it's literally you are put into boot camp and they consensually lock you in a room and they're like every 5 minutes you're going to have a conversation with another person, and the goal is just
That
keep
sounds
the
awful.
conversation going for 5 minutes. But it's
That
amazing
sounds
because that's
awful.
how you learn. You get
Pardon,
really good at
pardon my
it.
French. Pardon my French. That sounds fucking awful.
I know. I
That
know that.
sounds like what I call hell. Hell. Absolutely not. That's no,
Okay,
no.
but hear me out. Hear me out. Like
Oh God.
everything is easier once you know how to do it, like a skill. So if you had the skill for being able to have a conversation with anybody, you'd be able to do it more easily and have more
But
fun
I
doing
but I
it.
can. That's the thing though. Like for me
Yes,
personally, again, for me, like I can have a conversation. I'm really good at conversing with people. I just most of the time don't want to.
which is fine.
I just don't want to. I just, yeah. How do you extrovert? How does it just come so easy for you? I don't understand. Like what do you, like when you're out with a bunch of like people, are you just in your, is that really how you recharge your battery, being with people? Like what would happen if you spent an entire week by yourself alone? Would you
I
be
would
sad?
I would lose my mind. It would be like Castaway where he starts talking to the volleyball like, "Listen, you're my best friend." Like I couldn't not talk to him.
Really?
Yesterday, I was at my office and I had like an hour off, which is super weird. And I was like, ooh, too alone, too alone. And so I just walked across the street, and I walked to the art school across the street. And I'm like, there's people in there. And I know them because I used to go to the art school, but I'm not currently there. And so I just walked in, I just talked to everyone. I was like, hi, how are you? I'm Angela. We haven't met yet. Let's be friends. What are you drawing? That looks cool. Tell me about it.
Let me get this straight. Pause for a second, because
Yeah,
I need to process this. I need to process this out loud.
This is how
Let
the
me
other
get this
half
straight.
lives. Yeah.
Because I don't. Oh my God! So you're saying
Yeah.
that you had a day full of appointments,
Yeah.
and you happened to have an hour free.
Yeah, I did.
With no appointments.
Yeah.
And instead of using that time to like reset and not people, you decided to leave the comfort of your office and go out and seek people to talk to. You sought people in your free time on purpose to have a conversation with them.
Oh my God.
And you were happy.
I feel like I'm being cross-examined. The introverts listening to this are like, this would never happen to me.
My whole audience is full of introverts. I have a couple extroverts, but like
two extroverts.
I know, and one of them is across from me right now. Well, actually, no, because I found out earlier that you don't follow me on Instagram, and like you didn't even know that I made contact.
Your entire followers are like, what is wrong with her? Like,
oh, God, no.
Seeking out people. I love it.
I can feel them. They probably pushed pause by this point, and they were like, hold on. And they probably did what I just did, which is try to understand the fact that you had an hour free of no people, you decided to walk out of your office, go across the street, and seek out people to talk to. You couldn't stand being alone for an hour.
Let's bring more people into my life. Yes.
I have no words for you.
Right now, but that's the thing. Is there people listening to this right now and they're like, I was wondering if I was an extrovert or an introvert, and I've decided now that I'm an introvert. I'm
going to make this section of our interview a clip. And it's going to be
just roast me.
Just this I'm not even going to release the whole interview. Just this section. just this section. And it's going to be like an introvert talks to an extrovert, and he does not understand.
Well, so here's my tips for introverts, and I can take the ones that we learned in a sorority. So like quick conversation tips if you are really struggling as an introvert. The first tip I have is don't ask where people are from, because it's a
don't ask where people are from.
No, because that conversation goes nowhere. I say like, where are you from? You answer like, I'm from Colorado. It's like, okay, cool. I've never been there. Awesome. Just goes nowhere. Ask a conversation opener that goes somewhere. Like you could ask, what do you do for work? But some people get offended by that. You could say, what are you doing here? Or like, like, do you live around here? Or if it's a hobby-based activity, like all my friends do board games. That's why I brought up board games. All my friends do Warhammer. You'd be like, how long have you been into Warhammer? What got you into that? Like, I would like to go have this conversation go somewhere deeper. Remember, the goal is learning about the other person and sustaining a conversation. So no close-ended questions.
When you went across the street.
Yeah, I do this often.
To go seek out more human beings to interact with.
Yes, because I love it.
What did you say to them? Like what was your opening line? Like what was the what was the room you were in, and what did you say? What were they doing?
Well, that's kind of cheating because I know it's a place where people gather. I frequent it, and so I knew most of the people there. But I was like,
oh, so you knew them, but you still sought them out.
Not all of them. The new ones I had to introduce myself to.
Okay, and what did you say to the new people that you didn't know?
Hello, I'm the village extrovert. I stalk these grounds. You are my prey. Let's talk. No, I'm just kidding.
No, here's the thing. No, you're not kidding. That's exactly what you said. You said that without saying that, but that's exactly what you said. That's exactly what you did. And I believe every single word that you just said.
Sometimes I can sense when someone's an introvert, and I'll be like, hi, what are you drawing? I'm Angela. We haven't met. And they'll be like, And I'm like, okay,
Yes,
nice to
that
meet
would be
you.
me. I'd be like, who is this woman approaching me right now while I sit here and draw?
And I'm like, hi, I'm your new friend. We're having an interaction right now. Is
Ain't
this wanted?
ain't no way. Absolutely not. No. Mm-mm. That's just not a thing. That's not a thing.
It's a
No.
lovely thing.
No. Okay. All right. Well,
I've learned this
I
about introverts.
yeah.
Sometimes they do want to have the interaction, even if they seem uninterested. They'll be like, no, I want to talk about this. I'm just, I am a little shy. I don't do this very often. I'm like, that's okay. Then I'll keep going. Like, tell me about your painting. It's very nice. I'd like to hear
This
more about it.
this is why introverts despise extroverts. This is why we despise you, because you're going to be like, oh, they're just shy. Let me keep the conversation going for them. Meanwhile, in our brain, we're like, this lady will not leave me alone. Walk away.
But
Leave
see,
me
this is the
alone.
problem. Is you guys are so interesting, and I want to know what you're doing, what's going on in that little introvert world. I want you to tell me about it. And you guys are like, I don't want to tell you about it.
Yes. Facts. Factual information. I'm going to title this podcast episode Extrovert or Introvert Tries to Understand Extrovert. That's the title of this episode. Like,
I mean, extrovert tries to understand introverts. I think I do understand you. I just wish you would talk to me more. But that's okay.
oh boy. Okay. All right. So then let's do this. For our final words of wisdom here for the people listening.
Yes.
As an extrovert, this is why I haven't visited Colorado. This is exactly, now I know why. Now I know why I haven't visited, for that reason, because you would seek me out. And
I
you'd be
would.
like,
I mean, you live in another state, and I'm trying to get you to come hang out. Like, come be social voluntarily for like a weekend or whatever. Like, come out, come hang
I
out.
do live in another state. Though, wait, complete sidetrack. Do you remember how last time we were here, we were shitting on Connecticut? Do you remember this?
Yes, I do recall.
So I hope you know that's become a thing for like all of my guests. Where I found out we're not the only ones that dislike Connecticut.
Okay,
There's a lot of people that don't like the state.
As a former Connecticut dweller, this is the best defense I can say for Connecticut. It is not our fault that everyone else wishes they lived in Connecticut.
Nobody likes Connecticut. Not a single person.
We are the best state in the best section, New England, of this country. So
here's what's funny. I interviewed my friend Bimo the Prince, and he is from Boston, and diehard Boston person.
Don't
and he said that Connecticut like tries to be part of New England, but New England does not claim them.
Okay, very passionate words for someone from Boston. Let's remember the things that Connecticut is famous for. Number 1, ghosts. Okay. Number 2, Lyme disease. Number 3, no significant Revolutionary War battle was ever fought there, but it is still permanently Revolutionary War themed as a state. All institutions. Number 4, turning residential buildings into commercial spaces. Amazing. If I had to pick a 5th thing about Connecticut, I would say being better than Boston. But that's not hard to do. I mean, no, Boston's pretty fun. I can't even pretend to attack Boston. It's so nice there. I would love to live there. There's nothing that I can say bad about Boston.
You're trying to make Connecticut happen, and it's not working. You're trying to make it.
Connecticut is the hippest place ever.
Connecticut is the hippest place ever for Connecticut.
What do they sell in Connecticut?
Hatred and self-hatred and extroversion.
I don't know what they sell. They don't have any exports as a state, I don't think.
Well, apparently Lyme disease, according to you.
Big one. Big one. Big one.
Okay.
Yes, but I love Connecticut. Connecticut pride.
No, that's okay. So.
Oh my God.
No, I'll pass. No, thank you.
It is the best state in New England. Yes.
No, we'll no. We'll do a whole podcast one day about why Connecticut sucks.
It is Connecticut, from what I understand, the history of Connecticut is literally that it was farmers from other states and then they just made it a state. They're like,
Sounds about
okay,
right.
it's
Sounds
sheep
about right.
state. Connecticut.
Sounds about right. I always say Connecticut's a wonderful town.
Oh my God. That's so good.
Okay. Well, extrovert.
I love
thank
it.
you for teaching me your extroverted ways. I've learned so much about I gotta have you back, and I'm gonna pick your brain about extroversion because there's just so much that I want to ask you about when it comes to extroversion. So you got to come back, and we're going to talk specifically extroversion. Okay.
Oh man, your followers would be like, I don't feel safe around this episode.
Probably, but I know a bunch of like my audience who's mostly introverts are going to be like, okay, extrovert, you have our attention for the next 30 minutes. What the hell?
Yes,
and then you're going to have to explain yourself. You're going to have to explain yourself and explain your actions. Try to help us understand why.
I love it.
Jesus Christ.
No. It's great.
No. Anyway, so my friends, thank you for listening to this introvert try to understand extroversion in 30 minutes. So Angela and I, we're going to play a fun game of Would You Rather, and that is we're going to record that right after we finish up here. So only subscribers are going to be able to witness that. And so make sure you hit that subscribe button. Well, you can't do it here, but you can go visit the my Facebook page or my Instagram profile or my TikTok profile. Hit that subscribe button, and you're going to get a special video of her and I talking about some fun stuff. And you're going to get other videos that I post. I post every single day, other mental health journey stuff and tips and tricks that'll help make your journey just a little bit easier. So go subscribe today. And if you are interested in learning more about Angela Nauss, I included all of her information in the description of this podcast as well. So all you have to do is click, and you're going to get taken to her website, and you get to find more about how this extrovert extroverts.
Oh my gosh. And if you're not subscribed, why not? You are missing so much content.
Are you subscribed, Angela?
I'm gonna.
Yeah, okay, that's bullshit.
I'm in the extras, so I get to be here for it.
Yes, true. With that said, my friends, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. As always, much love, good vibes, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.